Hi everyone, welcome back to my reflection video. I'm super excited to say that this is my 4th month in the Netherlands and I actually learned a lot, and I'm excited to share with you what I've learned, all the culture shock as an American living in the Netherlands. So let's start with the first thing ever. One of the biggest culture shock is that your neighbors hold your mail. So let's say you're busy throughout the day and the delivery came and it never came. They would give it to your neighbor located near on your streets, and this is a huge culture shock to me because that would never happen in Boston, because you would 100% lose that package and you would never see it. And it's interesting because it kind of gives the idea of like community versus, I think, in Boston even, or even in the States, like we live in like neighborhood and apartment, but we're not really there to look out for each other or to help each other. And while the Netherlands, the Dutch people, they are there, like when I needed to pick up a package and I wasn't available in my house, I could go the next day and the neighbor would just give it to me and happily give it to me and all that jazz. And vice versa, it worked. Some people came to us when we were able to hold their packages until they came back from work or school. So yeah, so that is a big culture shock. Number 2 was nightlife. So I actually got to experience the nightlife, and all I can say was it was quite interesting. We went to 2 clubs in the city center, and it was interesting in that the music was interesting, and the entrance fee and the drinks are much more affordable than Boston. I think like a vodka soda was around €8, when in Boston, last time I checked, was around like $11. And the entrance fee would be like €3, but in the States it's sometimes 10 or even 20. So that was a nice surprise. I wanted to talk about the music. The elephant in the room. The music was interesting in that because they were either playing old pop music like Pitbull and Rihanna. I'm saying old in terms of it's not pretty recent, and it's like if you turn on the radio or on the Spotify, the songs of top 50 would most likely not be played in the club. And then also I got to hear Dutch music, Dutch house music for the first time, and that was interesting. Yeah. And one of the most important thing is nightlife here lasts all the way to 5 a.m. while in Boston we could never. That's why Boston is really hard for college students and young adults, because first, you can't even drink until you're 21, and then second of all, we would close at 1 a.m. versus here, the first night we went out, we got home at 3 a.m. So that's it. And it was awesome. Like the lights, like walking back, everyone was leaving. It was safe. We were able to walk back home. Another thing was holidays. Last month was Christmas, but this month it was Lunar New Year's and Valentine's Day. So for Lunar New Year's, this is the first time in my life that I was away from family. So it's been 24 years, like ever since I was a fetus, a newborn, I was always celebrating that New Year's with my family, and this year I wasn't. And it was like interesting because usually I would wake up and spend most of the morning and even the afternoon in the kitchen helping and prepping and cooking with my parents, or do last minute grocery shopping at the local Asian supermarket. But this time, I just spent it with Michael, so we just made hot pot. So yeah, and also like that would be like a whole day thing. Meanwhile, it was just a dinner. And yeah, and let's talk about Valentine's Day. So Valentine's Day is like treated the same both in the States and the Netherlands. You always go to dinner, people buy flowers blown in and give them, and there's also cards, and also, yeah. And it's interesting to, yeah, it was the same, but it was nice to be in the Netherlands this time versus the past few years I was in Boston. So got to try out new food. I just wanted to say that there will be a Lunar New Year video and a Valentine's Day video too. Those videos are not pretty long because they were just one day, but I'm excited to take you guys on that journey. Let's talk about something else, is that I started to miss my family and friends. I'm so used to being, let's hang out, and we could actually go out to a museum or go to a restaurant, but now every time we hang out, we usually enter each or apartments or house, and we're just chatting and catching up with each other and life. And you know, it's different. You know, I miss the physical attachment to those friendships, which makes me really excited when I come back to the States and see them. So that's okay. I am right now trading like my life, learning more about myself, and honestly that's kind of priceless. So let's talk about something else. All right, let's talk about Dutch culture. Dutch culture is slowly creeping up to me. Like, I'm being a little bit too blunt, but quote unquote, I'm being more direct. I started to speak Dutch a little bit more when it comes to the grocery store and fast food places at like Vishmart or like the local markets. And like I was able to order kibbeling, which is a Dutch food and Dutch fast food. It's like a fried fish. And I can talk to the cashiers in the supermarket. And yeah, so I'm telling you that the learning language apps are working. So I use Duolingo and Babbel. I use Babbel a lot for grammar, and Duolingo is really good at learning vocabulary, so that helps. And they teach you, both of them teach you vocabulary that you see throughout the whole time. But Babbel is much better than Duolingo when it comes to grammar. So one thing I want to talk about is certain culture shocks that like I've noticed, and one of the biggest thing is the work-life balance of America versus the Dutch people. And this is such a good thing, but I've noticed in America, like every job that I work with, and even my friends and family, when I catch up with them, is that work kind of surrounds your whole life. Versus the Netherlands, every time I hang out with family and friends here, like they do not talk about work. They rather just talk about like what they're doing next, what they're doing for fun, places they recommend you to go out and check. It just never really like, how are you, with the expectation that you talk about your work. And another thing that I talked with Michael, and I completely agree, of things I'm noticing is status chasing and also status talking. It is such a talked about thing in America, meaning like, oh, like how much money you make also is relating to your worth, and also what school did you go to, and the ranking and tiers of schools, versus here is just like, oh, you have a master's, you have a bachelor, and that's already an amazing thing. So they don't really care about that, just that you have a degree, versus in America, I mean, it's much more a comparison focused world in terms of that. So I'm gonna move away from talking about culture shocks or things I've noticed, but let's talk about something that is a need when you live in the Netherlands, and that I finally started taking almost every day for this past month was taking vitamin D. There is no sun, like as you can tell, it's pretty cloudy throughout the whole day, even though there's like a peak of sun, but no sun really. And because of that, I have to take vitamin D to feel motivated to do everything, including videos, work, or just even going outside. Because it's raining and windy, you want to stay inside, but after taking the vitamin D, I feel much more motivated to tackle the day. And that burst of energy. And it's funny because I always heard that people talk about that you need to take, people get easily depressed in Europe because of the weather, and I could see it. But now that I've been taking vitamin D, I've been much more motivated throughout the day. And lastly, I want to talk about my obsession with collectibles. Like this month, I went to a grocery store to spend 30 euros so I can get a collectible plushie, which you'll see in my Lunar New Year videos. And also I got the elusive Pikachu card that's only in the Netherlands, because I want to commemorate this whole entire experience living in the Netherlands. I think within 1 year from now, I'm gonna have a lot of stuff, but it will bring back the memories of living in the Netherlands and living in this apartment and just the whole experience of it. And with that said, goodbye. I will see you in a month from now. Well, I'll see you soon with my other videos, but I'll see you in my next reflection. Bye, everyone.